So for Skyscanner, we actually had quite a mature release management process. Too mature, I'd say. It was legacy at that point. It was built back in 2016 when the whole craze around release management, release trains started. However, there were no, let's say, third-party tools out there to help support that for big companies that wanted to implement that. So Skyscanner set off to build their own. We had an in-house tool called SkyTrain. It was built using technologies and frameworks that we no longer support now as production standards. And it went halfway to automation, where it was half automated in terms of like sending out reminders or uploading builds to the Play Store, or let's say like connecting to Slack, that sort of stuff. But there was still quite a lot of manual process and quite a lot of mental loads being put on release managers. We ran a bi-weekly release train. With each week, we would alternate platforms being released, and each platform being released would require a release manager that had knowledge of said platform. Whenever there's anything manual, there's always the risk of human error. So therefore, the mental load sometimes would lead to, let's say, someone forgetting to upload on a specific release day, and then we would delay by a day, a release window, and so on and so forth. Because over time, the people who had built the tool left, so the business knowledge was lost, the implementation knowledge was lost. We were at this point maintaining something we didn't really know much about, and even something like upgrading Python libraries so that we are not stuck with security risks were quite a lot of toil and effort. So that was our before. We still had a release management process in place and a tool that we were using. However, we wanted to take it further. When we started focusing on release management, the main one was being able to move to weekly releases. With our previous tooling, it just wasn't feasible. It took way too long. It took a lot of manual involvement, about 1 day a week, just like continuous involvement from the release manager for each platform. So we wanted to achieve weekly releases through adopting more automation. So another goal was to cut down on the manual process. So finding a tool that would introduce as much automation as possible, even to the point of not even having to open the Google Play console or the equivalent for iOS, was really important for us. And another associated goal was for us to lose the security risk and just the risk in general associated with a single point of failure that our previous tool presented. And through keeping all of this in mind, we were able to compare the solutions on the market. Runway was one of them. We're happy to say that we've addressed all of those concerns and we've hit all of those goals. We are now on a weekly release schedule. The 1 day a week per release management per platform was cut down to a matter of perhaps an hour, let's say. But not only that, because we're basically doing both platforms at the same time, we've basically managed to save about 2 days a week. That can now be given back to the enablement team, who is still managing releases, and we still have release managers, but it's now just one manager, regardless of which platform they have expertise on. So there are quite a lot of benefits coming out of focusing our efforts on improving our release management.